Every Friday night, this city closes 4 blocks of its main street and everybody shows up. There are bears in the neighborhoods up north, like real ones, and the city has statues of one of them. The man who founded Monrovia built himself a house here in 1885, and that house just sold for $2.548 million. And there are only 39 single-family homes for sale in the entire city, the same exact number as 1 year ago. Monrovia is the closest thing the San Gabriel Valley has to a small American town, and today I'm going to show you what it's actually like to live here and what to expect. What's up everyone, I'm Chen. I'm a realtor with Real Brokerage, and I cover real estate development and community news here in the San Gabriel Valley. And today it's Monrovia, and it's actually where I live in the SGV. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, click the link in the description. I'd love to help. So first, why does Monrovia feel the way it does? Because people notice it immediately. Let's start with a quick history lesson on how it came to be. In 1875, a man named E.J. Lucky Baldwin bought almost 9,000 acres of Rancho Santa Anita. In 1884, William Monroe bought 240 acres of it from him. Monroe and 4 of his partners laid out a 120-acre town site centered at Orange, which is Colorado and today, and Myrtle. The first lot went on sale May 17, 1886, and it sold for $100 and $150. The only condition was that you had to build a house on it within 6 months. So in 1887, the year after, Monrovia incorporated, the 4th city in LA County. Only Los Angeles, Santa Monica, and Pasadena came first. And Myrtle Avenue, the main street in the city, is named after Monroe's oldest daughter. It was laid out as the main street in 1886 and is still the main street today. That street and the houses never got torn down throughout all these years, and it retains the deep history, and the downtown has this old town American feel. Even the architecture was preserved. I mean, it really does look like Old Town America. And living here, this is your main hub for a lot of things in the city. In fact, every single Friday night, everyone shows up to the same 4 blocks for the street fair and so many more community events that makes Monrovia so special. So let's dive into that. The Monrovia Street Fair and Market runs every Friday night all year, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. They close Myrtle to traffic from Lemon on the south to Walnut. That's 4 free blocks. Attendance is free and parking is free. You get a real farmer's market, live music, prepared foods, and a kids zone with a petting zoo and pony rides. And the first Friday of every month is kids night too. So this isn't like an annual festival, it's literally every single Friday night, 52 weeks a year, and it's been like that for years. I think that's the difference between a town with a lively community and a downtown, and a town that just has stores on the street. So if you've been looking at like cities like Sierra Madre to the northwest, it's a similar feel. That same old town, small city character, Monrovia is just a bit bigger, and the downtown happens every week. Now, if you're heading to Old Town, you have to check out some of my favorite local restaurants. So write this down really quick. First, TK Cafe for some insane portions of Hawaiian food on Foothill. Next is Peach Cafe over on Colorado for brunch. Next is Mama's Juicery on Myrtle for juices and acai bowls. Cafe de Olla on South Myrtle for breakfast, and Basin 141 on Myrtle as well if you want a drink and something good to eat. These are staples, and I've been to all of them in Old Town, and I've noticed some more openings recently too, like Republic Coffee on South Myrtle just opened, Soul Alley just opened, Sushi Co just opened, and those are just the brand new ones. Just out of Old Town to the west side, an In-N-Out just opened too in the same plaza where Trader Joe's is. So we're seeing more businesses fill up the retail space, and that's a great sign for the continued growth of the city. And going back to the Friday nights, that's really just the baseline of what to do here. Look at what else the city puts on. Saturday morning farmers markets, Valentine's Day carriage rides, a spring egg hunt, the Old Town wine walk, Monrovia Days, which is the big community festival, 4th of July fireworks, concerts and movies in the park all summer, and I can go all day on this. This is a city that programs itself constantly, so living here, you'll always have some event or something to look forward to. Now, one thing that did happen this year, because it's the biggest question mark in Old Town for me, and if you live here, you'll know, it's the movie theater. In January, one of the biggest anchors on Myrtle, the Look movie theater, closed with little to no warning. There was a lot of drama on it actually. And the history on that building is deep. We've had 3 operators in 26 years. Krikorian opened in November 2000. Studio Movie Grill took it over in 2017 and closed in COVID times in March 2020. And then Look Dine-In Cinemas took over in 2021 when it reopened, and now it's dark again in 2026. The mayor said that publicly, downtown vacancies are part of a bigger squeeze on brick and mortar stores, but I really think it's a one-off situation because Look also closed their Downey and Redlands location in the same fashion. Okay, so switching gears here, let's move to the north side of Monrovia, because if you want to live here, you need to know this. There are bears in Monrovia, and pretty regularly. This mostly affects the city above Foothill Boulevard. California Fish and Wildlife logged 53 bear calls in the city in a single year through mid-September. Bears in trash cans, bears in backyards. One bear got captured inside a homeowner's crawl space, and another one reportedly lived under a house for 2 months. And I've seen it myself too. Driving up to Canyon Park, there was a bear in a trash can. And this city does not treat that as a problem. You know, they really lean into it. For example, there was a bear in the 1990s named Samson. About 500 pounds. He'd raid trash cans and fruit trees, but what made him famous is that he liked to relax in people's hot tubs after. He got sick and was going to be euthanized in 1994, and the public reaction was so strong to that Fish and Wildlife backed off. So if you're buying above the Foothill, this is a real part of the deal there. So secure your trash cans, seal your crawl space, and don't leave fruit on the ground. The city has a Living with Wildlife page, and you should read it. And really, it's not just bears too. The city has reported mountain lions and other wildlife sightings, which is the nature of being so close to the San Gabriel Mountains. All right, so this is one of my favorite parts of Monrovia. Let's talk about the houses, but specifically the architecture, because Monrovia's housing stock is generally different from anywhere else in the San Gabriel Valley. There are over 2,500 homes in the city built before 1940. As of January 2024, 164 of them are designated historic landmarks. And I pulled the top, most priciest of the market, in the last 180 days. Look at the years these homes were built. 250 North Primrose, 1885. 464 North Myrtle, 1923. 725 West Hillcrest, 1927. 209 North Sunset, 1926. And the fullest you can see on the screen, all 1920s, 1930s, and before that. Roughly a third of the priciest in this home was built before that year. And Monrovians love character in homes. They love the architecture and the history and all that comes with it. In most of Southern California, that's backwards. The normal play on an old house is buy the lot, the biggest you can find, scrap it, and build something twice the size. It doesn't really work here, and that's not on accident. Monrovia has a demolition review ordinance and other organizations to keep the preservation intact. And it doesn't just cover the 164 historically designated landmarks in the city. It covers significant alterations or demolition of any building that is 50 years or older. In a city with 2,500 pre-1940 homes, that's like almost all of the housing stock. So most places you scrap it. In Monrovia, it depends on the historical significance of your property, and that's why this market pays for the original. And there are 3 properties in Monrovia on the National Register of Historical Places. The Oaks on Primrose, the Aztec Hotel on Foothill, and 464 North Myrtle, which is the Uptown Sinclair house. Uptown Sinclair, the Pulitzer Prize winner, lived in Monrovia from 42 to 64. And 2 of those 3 actually changed hands in the past 6 months. So on that note, let's talk about the founder's house, because he lived at the 250 North Primrose, and it was called the Oaks. It was built in 1885. It's a stick Eastlake Queen Anne, designed by an architect called Solomon Haas. It's the second oldest house in the city, and it went on the register in 1978. And in June, it sold for $2.548 million. You only see homes like this in the niche few neighborhoods in the San Gabriel Valley. All right, so let's get to the numbers because I know some of you came for this. This is my own MLS data that I pulled for July 2026. Single family residence with a median sold price of $1,065,000, down 3.2% from a year ago. Condos and townhomes, 681,500, down 3% from a year ago. The days on market are 17, up 21% from last year, and that's the slowest the market's been in the past 5 years. But 17 days is still fast. Active markets, the ones that are on the market, 39 single family homes in the market with zero change from 1 year ago. In my previous video on new construction in the San Gabriel Valley, I ran the year-over-year inventory for our core cities, a lot of the West SUV cities. Alhambra was up 42%, Monterey Park up 30%, El Monte up 25%, San Gabriel up 25%, and so on. But what does this mean for the state of the market right now for Monrovia? My read is that Monrovia is flat, but for a different reason than other SUV cities. Everywhere else, as you can see, price is softening because inventory has gone up 20 to 30%. And I covered that in my previous videos. Here, inventory didn't move at all, but the price came down anyways. That's on the demand side problem, not a supply side. It means that there's no backlog. When buyers come back, when there are 39 homes, assuming that inventory stays the same, we might just see prices climb again. So let's talk about what's being built right now in Monrovia and what's shaping the next few years. Right now, the development by that station, the city calls it the Station Square Transit Village and put close to $25 million into infrastructure down there. So with all that inventory, what does this mean? Well, unfortunately, it's all rental. Moda at Monrovia Station, Alexan Marymount, Avalon Monrovia Apartments, and you don't have to take my word for it. The City of Monrovia's own Living in Monrovia page says, and I quote, brand new apartments in Monrovia now leasing. And a lot of the infrastructure near that A-Line station is going to be leasing. And it's the same pattern I broke down in my new construction video. Most of what's coming to the SUV is apartments, especially the SB 79 rule. All right, so some things you should know when moving to Monrovia. First is the schools, right? Monrovia High ranks in the top 50% of California public high schools. US News has it around 411th in the state. Reading proficiency is 67% against a 47% state average, so reading is well above. Graduation is 96% against 87% statewide. Math is 29% against a 34% state average, so that's the soft spot. Overall, a solid school district. It does beat the state on reading and graduation, but trails a bit on math. But if your whole search is built around landing a top 25 district in California, which we have in the San Gabriel Valley, Monrovia isn't that. Number 2 is fire. This is a foothill city, and the Bobcat fire came right up against it in 2020. And on March 24th, 2025, CAL FIRE released updated fire hazard maps. Historically, Monrovia only had a very high fire zone mapped, the updated moderate and high fire zones on top of that. So the map area just got bigger and the city is not allowed to downgrade any of that the state identified. Number 3 is that if you buy the famous 1920s craftsman that this city is known for, budget for it. Because restoration is expensive and you're going to want to keep the character because that character is what you're paying for. So hold the cash after you close. Don't spend everything at the closing table. And number 4 is if you want a newer, lower maintenance condo, the options are a bit thinner than other SUV cities. The for sale condo stock here is mostly 1970s to 1990s. The new construction all went rental. And number 5, this is a small town. So if you want the nightlife, Monrovia is quiet. And that's a feature that most of my buyers and the preference for a lot of the people that want to live here. All right, so if you sat down with me and said, Calvin, I want to buy Monrovia, here's what I tell you. First, decide how close you want to be to Oldtown Monrovia. Because although that's the main street, the main hub, all the events come with the through traffic and a lot of people with it. Second is if you're looking at an older home, let's do our due diligence. Is it a designated landmark? Is it historical relevance? Is there a contract recorded against it? And what does your tax bill look like after the assessment? Not what the seller is paying now. So here's the bottom line. Monrovia is the fourth oldest city in LA County. It has over 2,500 homes built before 1940. It closes its main street every Friday night, and it has bears in the backyard and a waterfall that just reopened after 4 years. And it has 39 houses for sale. So if you want a real downtown, a house with 100 years of history and mountains you can walk into, there is nothing else quite like this in the San Gabriel Valley. But if you want a newer construction, top tier test scores, that's maybe a different search, and I'm happy to help you with that one too. So here's my question for you. The empty theater building on Myrtle, what should go in it? Drop it down in the comments, because that block is going to change how Oldtown feels for the next 10 years. And as always, if you're thinking about buying or selling in Monrovia or anywhere in the SGV, my name is Calvin Chen with Real Brokerage. Book a call with me. My link's in the description below. My weekly SGV newsletter and my email are down there too. Subscribe if you want more videos about what's happening in SGV. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.